What's up, Conference USA fans? Welcome into another episode of the CUSA Insider Podcast. We're happy to have you here. Obviously, you found the video or audio version of this podcast, but if you haven't, you can always find us on Spotify, Apple Music, all the audio outlets, whatever. You can also find us on social media at CUSA Insider. Always happy to hear from our fans about what we can do better, what you like, anything like that. I'm joined today by our Associate Director of Communications, Eric Jones, to talk a little bit of baseball. We talked, both Diamond Sports last weekend. I was on here to kind of touch on baseball and focus on softball. We're going to switch it up. We're reversing roles today. We're going to touch on a little softball and then get into baseball before an awesome interview. I'll let Eric kind of tease that. But Eric, thank you for joining.
Yeah, always happy to be on. Excited to talk a little baseball. Officially at the halfway point of the season, 28 games in, some with 29 in, but also 2 weeks into conference play, and we've seen one sweep out of every single conference series. So a lot of tight contests, a lot of teams kind of beating up on each other, and maybe we'll see some separation. Maybe we won't here this weekend, but excited. Some really exciting games here coming up this weekend, and excited to talk about it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and we'll remind me who we're talking with on the baseball side.
We're talking with WKU center fielder Ryan Wideman. Kid's been tearing it up this season. WKU off to a historic start to the season. They're 25-3, 21-0 at home. Really excited what the Hilltoppers are doing on the diamond, and excited to talk to Wideman this week.
Yeah, that'll be sweet to hear, just kind of his insight into their hot start for sure. Yeah. A little bit of other housekeeping before we get into the rest of our sports here. Women's basketball, unfortunately, Louisiana Tech, the Lady Techsters finished up their run in the women's NIT, falling to Illinois State earlier this week. And then we have NCAA bowling regionals, everyone. Get fired up. They start Friday, April 4th. They run Friday, April 4th to the 5th. To determine who will go to the Final Four there in Vegas. Obviously, we've got our 8 teams in. You can go read on our website about all the teams in, where they're seated, who they're playing, all that fun stuff on our website. But we have 3 of the 4 national seeds, including number 1 overall seed Jacksonville State, the defending national champions, looking to hoist another trophy. But there's a good chance it's going to be some team from Conference USA with the contingent that we have there on the bowling side. So that's what else is coming down the docket this week. Let's talk a little softball. When Sarah asked me to fill in for her this week as the host to talk baseball and softball, I was like, oh, all right, we can be the Diamond Dogs. And then I quickly realized that that's kind of Louisiana Tech kind of has a hold on that title. Yep. So we'll workshop another title for the next time we're on to talk baseball, softball. But getting into softball, Liberty Lady Flames just continue to win games. They're coming off a sweep of UTEP over this past weekend. They are 11-0 in conference play, tying the best start to conference play in the league's history, which has included some incredible programs when you look on the 30 years of past softball in this league. They have a chance Friday night. They host Middle Tennessee in Lynchburg this weekend. They have a chance to set the record for the best conference start at 12-0 if they should beat the Blue Raiders on Friday. But so we got a big series there with Middle going to Liberty. We got a couple interesting series here that are really going to kind of shape the middle of the standings as we get into the heart of the conference schedule. Jacksonville State's visiting La Tech. Jackson State coming off a big series win over FIU. La Tech, unfortunately, coming off a series loss to WKU, but they're still sitting there tied for second at 8-4. Jackson State's looking to kind of crack back into the top 4 teams there. And then you got a similar situation with FIU at Sam Houston. FIU again coming off the series loss to Jack State, visiting a Sam Houston team that is coming off 4 losses here. From last week, but obviously looking to kind of stay above 500 there. So really interested to see how those series play out this weekend. But man, I mean, like I said, Lady Flames doing some awesome things. But again, we cannot talk CUSA softball without talking about Desiree Spearman, who, unfortunately, we were hashing it out Monday morning, trying to decide it. Player of the week decision making around here on Monday, Tuesday, whatever day it comes out, it can be really tough. And this week for softball was another tough week. Unfortunately for Desiree Spearman, no one wants to pitch to her.
I know she's getting the Barry Bonds treatment.
Yeah,
it's almost. I mean, just put her on and we'll face the rest of the lineup or whatever. But it's impressive what she's doing, and when she's getting to swing the bat, she's doing damage.
Right. Yeah. And that's the few times when she's getting pitches in the zone, see you later ball. That seems to be how it goes. She already has 17 home runs. She had 18 home runs all of last season as a freshman, which was tied for the conference lead. So she's already on pace for 20 plus home runs, something that'll definitely put her in the Conference USA record books. But she doesn't just do that. She doesn't just hit the long ball. She can also shut you down in the circle. And she moved to 9-4 on the year, dropped her ERA to 2.71, which again, if you're solely a pitcher, would just kind of be pedestrian numbers. But the fact that she can put up numbers like that when she's also, hitting 506 and slugging over 1,000 for the year, pretty insane. And actually, when I was putting together our notes, she is the active career leader in slugging percentage among all of Division I. Her career slugging percentage is 1,000. So for those of you who may not be familiar with what slugging percentage means, that means that every time she steps at the bat, she's averaging a single, just for your reference. Again, a huge series for New Mexico State, for Desiree Spearman. Coming up this weekend, they go on the road to rival UTEP, looking to kind of keep their winning streak going there. So I mean, I talked about it last week. Conference USA still the 8th best conference in Division I as a league. We now have 6 teams in the top 100 RPI wise. So there's a lot of really talented teams. It's going to be really exciting as we get into April, get into this last month of the season before we really get into postseason with the Conference USA tournament in Bowling Green. It's going to be crazy. I mean, Liberty's in the driver's seat right now, but there's obviously a lot of really quality teams that are knocking on the door. There's a little bit of clarity there at the top of the CUSA softball standings with Liberty and a few of these 8-4 teams separating themselves. That is not a luxury that we have on the baseball side. Baseball, like you alluded to in the intro, only one series sweep so far in league play. So there has just not been a whole lot of separation. But how are we looking on the baseball side?
Well, we are. I mean, you look at the standings right here, and you got 4 teams at 4-2, 3 at 3-3, and then you have Liberty middle at 2-4, and Sam right there at 1-5. A lot. I mean, it's a big jumbled mess right now. A little bit. I mean, 3 games separate from 1 to 10 in the league. So when you look at the schedule this weekend, you have all 4 of those 4-2 teams going up against each other. So you got the series that I'm looking forward to the most. I think WKU playing here in Dallas at DBU this weekend. That'll be a great series. But then you also have FIU and La Tech, who are both 4-2, getting to duke it out in Ruston this weekend too. Or an FIU offense that has looked really good, can get on base and score runs in bunches, as they do almost, I feel like, every year. But then you have a La Tech team that pitched it really well on Saturday and Sunday this past week against Kennesaw. So,
and going back to the conversation we were having about going through Player of the Week stuff, like it was funny because baseball, FIU had a Hitter of the Week that they won this week, and he was the only nominee, and it was almost like everyone saw what his line scores were like from the week, and they're like, "Yeah, no, we're good. He's got it. He's got it."
That kid, like he's their leadoff guy. He is their kind of just starter, obviously, but starter to this spark plug to the offense. And he showed it this weekend. I mean, he was all over the place. He hit 421 on the week. Incredible stuff from Iloa, their shortstop, their quarterback, their guy. So, but even looking down here, you got, Jack State coming off a series win at home against Liberty, and a Liberty team that's, they have 4 ACC wins against 4 different opponents in the ACC this season. They've been playing really well in the midweeks, which can really help their RPI. So, they're bound to break here in conference play, you think. And, you got a team like that's that talented, that's sitting at 2-4. I know they're ready to make some noise for sure. But a few cool notes here. We got, like we mentioned earlier, we got Ryan Wideman, WKU center fielder. He'll be joining us on the show this week. Super excited to talk to him and hear kind of his journey to WKU. He's a first-year guy, junior. He leads the league right now in batting average, slugging percentage, hits, triples, stolen bases, and total bases.
Wow.
So, I mean, just taking over that offense for them. And he's hit for the cycle once already this year. I believe it was the first cycle in WKU program history. And the kid is – I got to actually watch one of their games on ESPN Plus a few weeks ago, and he's just a cool 5 for 5. I mean, he barrels up almost every single, pitch he connects with, and super exciting to watch at the plate.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't know. One thing we talked about last week, going into this past weekend to play, was the DBU New Mexico State series, which we expected to see plenty of fireworks, which we did. I fully spoke that into existence. We saw a lot of football scores coming out of that one, and DBU is just kind of an interesting team. And I know we've talked about it, week in, week out, that they never really seem to shift in the polls, right? And everyone just kind of feels like, all right, on paper, they're still the team to be beat, maintaining their place among the top 20, top 25, depending on the poll. And it almost just seems like no one really knows what to do with them, even when they go 2-2 on a week and drop a bad midweek. But I appreciate the voters out there that are like, hey, you know what? We know that this DBU team is better than that. Obviously one of the better lineups in the league right now. So yeah, really excited to see just kind of how they shape up against a very talented WKU team as well.
Definitely. And both these teams love playing at home. So I know they'll feel comfortable playing in Dallas, but it's, obviously like not a great 2-2 week last week. But they were on the road. Never easy to go on the road over there. 2 lost Cruces, and then even their midweek game in Abilene. But yeah, this lineup, it's like we almost talk about how, it feels like they're having a down year. They're 18-9 right now, but their lineup is still so deep. And even losing guys like Ethan Mann and Miguel Santos last year, it's like you got guys like Nathan Humphreys and Tom Poole. Like these guys are stepping up in a big way, and they still sit here top 20 nationally in home runs. They average 9.2 runs a game right now.
Wow. And
they're slugging 544, which is 17th in the country. So they're still, putting up these crazy numbers right now on the offensive side. May not feel like it as compared to the last couple of years with the Patriots, but they're still just a great offensive team. And I know they're still looking for that Sunday win here in conference play. That's never an easy win to get, especially when you're up 2-0 in the series. You may feel like you can kind of cruise into a Sunday game. I know a lot of coaches always harp on that. These Sunday games are the biggest games of the week. So it'll be, I think, a little extra motivation for them this week on Sunday, no matter how the series kind of shapes out Friday and Saturday, which hopefully we'll get some decent weather for them to play Friday through Sunday. But who knows? We'll see if they can get a doubleheader in one of those days and try and get all 3 in. But
got to get you a chance to get out there and see Ryan in person.
Definitely,
right?
Definitely. And then you talk about WKU a little more. Their pitching staff right now tied with number 1 Tennessee with a team ERA of 2.54 as a squad. They allowed 1 run this past weekend against Sam Houston, 2 shutouts, and then won 11-1 on Sunday. So this pitching staff from WKU is no sleaze either. And I know we can talk about the offense and they're putting up numbers, but this pitching staff is really, I think, kind of flying under the radar a little bit in this league, and they'll kind of punch in the mouth, I think, here and there as we get down into the thick of conference play.
Yeah, and that was, we talked about WKU a little bit last week, and, I was kind of addressing the whole point that obviously a lot of people, when, we were talking about how great their start was, people were pointing out their strength of schedule. And, but that was one of the things we talked about was like, they weren't edging by, 4-3, whatever close games. They were beating teams, right? And they were getting it done. The lineup was getting it done 1-9. The pitching staff, was shutting opponents down day in, day out. They're continuing to do that, and it's only going to get more challenging, of course, as they get through the CUSA schedule. Obviously, huge test this weekend against that DBU lineup. So we'll look to see. It's going to be one of those. I love those matchups, right, where you have just whatever immovable object against an unstoppable force or something like that. That you're going to get. One of them's got to break. So really interested to see, how those games play out this weekend. And gotta love it.
No doubt. And moving down here to to La Tech. Their pitching staff really stepped up this weekend, as I mentioned. Luke Cooley, our Conference USA Pitcher of the Week, 8 no-hit innings. He actually went back out for the 9th, and I think there was a fielding error and a walk. I think his pitch count got up there, but 8 no-hit innings. Impressive week from Cooley. I think he had 10 strikeouts, which is the first time they had a 10 strikeout game since 2022.
Wow.
So really impressive by him. It was a rubber match against Kennesaw State. So it was a big weekend series for them. They're 4-2 now and gets to play a 4-2 FIU team. So another exciting weekend, and I think there's still so much left to play. Obviously, we're 6 games in.
Yeah.
But there's still so much to play here on the baseball side of things, and excited to see how everything kind of shapes out after this week.
Yeah, that's going to be so frustrating too. Like, you have 8 no-hit innings, you go out to try and finish it out. And, fortunately, I'm sure it would have been more frustrating if you gave up a hit to break it out.
Definitely.
But, the fact that you got to go home, you still see that goose egg, but it's only in 8 innings and not 9. But I don't know if you ever ran into, I know Eric's a former pitcher, so I don't know if you ever ran into a situation where
it happens. Hey, it's baseball. Sometimes your defense is going to make errors sometimes.
Yeah.
It's part of the game. It is what it is, but, you always got your guys' backs no matter what. So, yeah, that's tough to see from a pitching side. But, that's part of the game.
That's awesome. Well, really looking forward to the WKU DBU series this weekend. Really looking forward to this interview with Ryan. It's going to be a really cool, I feel like WKU gets a little bit lost in this league on the baseball side. We're always talking about DBU, La Tech, some of the other former programs that have come through this league. So it's kind of refreshing to have a new team that, might threaten to unthrone or dethrone one of the teams that has continually won the league and been on top of the league. So, I'm
excited too to even hear about, Ryan's kind of thoughts on Coach Raridan and what he's brought to that WKU team, because obviously it was a program that wasn't, where they wanted to be 3 years ago, and here comes Coach Raridan from, JUCO head coach. I mean, he was like, I don't know if he was Coach of the Year in JUCO, but he was, top tier junior college coach, and comes in and just brings in all these guys, kind of refreshes this program. And I'm interested to hear Ryan's perspective coming from a junior college and just, seeing what he's got to say about the coaching staff there at WKU.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, enjoy this interview between Eric and Ryan. And thank you again, Eric, for joining the pod.
Always a pleasure. All right. Joining us now on the show, WKU star center fielder, Ryan Wideman. Ryan, thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So leading it off right here, I want to talk about your approach to the plate so far this season. Obviously, you're leading Conference USA in plenty stat categories. You're hitting .455 right now. Lead the conference in hits with 55, triples with 5 so far. Total at bats, you're leading the conference in that. And you got 25 stolen bases as well. What has your approach been like at the plate so far in 2025?
Yeah, I think I'm an aggressive hitter. I'm hunting fastballs for the most part, and then kind of reacting off speed, or, at times I'm looking for what the pitcher's strengths are and what he's done in the past for other, good right-handed hitters. So, I trust my scouting report that my coaches give me, and we go from there.
Good deal. And let's take it back to last night now. Obviously, not the turnout of the game that y'all wanted there at Vanderbilt. A tough environment to play in. Had to be a cool environment to play in as well. But you had yourself another night, 2 for 5 at the plate. And then I believe you're on a SC top 10 with that incredible catch there, robbing a walk-off home run in the 10th. Talk about, playing at Vanderbilt. Obviously, I think this is probably y'all's biggest week of the year. But talk about last night's game. Obviously, y'all held in there, and then going into this weekend against DBU.
Yeah, I was really proud of how our guys fought last night. It was a fun game. The environment was fun. There was a lot of people at the game last night. I thought we showed out well. We made a few mistakes, but that's baseball, and sometimes that happens. I think if we played a series versus them, it'd be a good series. But it was fun. I think we're looking forward to this weekend. I like where our team's headed. We're headed in the right direction. We just keep getting better and better. So, we're looking forward to try and get a series win versus DBU.
Right. That's the wonderful thing about baseball too, is you drop a game, but you can get right back up and play again just about the next day. So, but let's talk about this historic run to start the season. Y'all's 20-1 record set the Conference USA record for best start in league history. Talk about the vibes around the dugout, the clubhouse. What's everyone feeling right now? Y'all got a great bunch of guys that I've seen thus far. But talk about, from your perspective, what it's like.
Yeah, I think we have a really good team camaraderie with, a group of pitchers that bring energy every day. It's really easy to show up to the ballpark every day when you got pitchers that are, getting excited just to be there at practice, shagging fly balls and BP. And it really just brings the team together when everyone wants to be there and we're all going in the right direction. So, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, we're well coached, and I think this team can make a run in a regional this year.
Definitely. So you mentioned the pitching staff. Let's talk about the pitching staff. This past weekend against Sam Houston, 2 shutouts, gave up 1 run. What kind of confidence does that give y'all as an offense, knowing that you're going to get these outings from your staff almost week in and week out?
Yeah, it makes it easier. On our offense, it takes a lot of pressure off. We know that if we score, just a couple runs, we're probably going to win the game if we play good defense. In preseason stuff, I feel like as hitters, it helps us get better too because we're facing, challenging arms.
Right.
So it really helps us prepare for, good arms versus real opponents, later down the road.
Good deal. Let's flash back a few weeks now. You hit for the cycle in a midweek contest against Southern Illinois, and you had a single in your last at bat. Did you know going into that last at bat that's all you needed, or?
Yeah, there's a thought in my head a little bit.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the coaching staff. Coach Raridan, a highly touted junior college coach for many years. You coming from junior college. What was that recruitment like? I know Georgia Highlands was where you're at previously, and you put up crazy numbers there. What about WKU and this coaching staff got you to come through?
Yeah, I just really believed in they were preaching a lot about winning, and I felt like the program was trending in the right direction. Kind of, you'd seen Rardin when he took over every year, their team just kept getting better and better. And I felt like when I did my research that, this was the right spot for me. And I think a group of coaches that could just develop me to my best abilities. And, so far it's been a great experience, and I'm really happy I picked WKU.
There you go. All right. Being a center fielder, there's plenty of guys to look up to. Is there a certain player right now in the league or from the past that you idolize or try and mold your game on?
I think one guy I really like is Cody Bellinger. But my dad, he grew up watching Andrew Jones.
There you go.
That's what me and him talk about, is just trying to be defense, locking it down like Andrew Jones used to. I'm a big Braves fan, so that's where that comes from.
There you go. Yeah, speaking on that, you're from Marietta, Georgia, I believe, correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah, so you got to go play down there a couple weeks ago. I know it's not the way y'all wanted it to turn out, but seemed like you didn't miss a beat. How was it going to play back at home?
It was great. A lot of family and friends came. Some like my closer friends from high school came. It was a really fun experience, playing team back home. A lot of fans there, good environment. So it was a great experience for us.
Awesome. I noticed in your bio that you were born in Spain. What's the story behind that? I mean, how did you get into baseball at a pretty young age, or talk about your story on that?
Yeah, my dad, he played professional basketball overseas for 10 to 11 years. And, me and all my 3 brothers were born in Spain. And we grew up there probably till I was about 6 years old, and came back over and started living here when my dad's career was over. But yeah, I played baseball when I was a pretty young age, from what I can remember, 3-4 years old. So I guess Spain's where I first picked it up, but pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. So one last question we have for you. We ask all of our guests on the podcast, where in Bowling Green, Kentucky, do you enjoy to go to, or you and your teammates enjoy to go out for a bite?
That's a good question. There's a Mexican restaurant called El Maz that a lot of people go to. I like, a little steak and rice, stuff like that. So
the fuel we need. Heck yeah.
Yes,
Well, I haven't been out to Bowling Green yet, but hopefully one of these days I'll get on out there. But Ryan, thanks for joining us again. Good luck this weekend here in Dallas. Hopefully the weather can hold up. It's already starting to rain a little bit, but again, thanks for coming on and good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you.
Thanks again to Ryan for joining the podcast and to Eric for conducting that interview. Really awesome to hear about the WKU baseball program. As I mentioned at the top of the episode, if you're not subscribed to us, please do wherever you're listening to your favorite podcasts and follow us on social media at CUSA Insider Pod. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode, and we'll catch you guys next time.